friends, and welcome to Keep Indiana Learning and the Lit Gals. Happy January, and it is a cold one, isn't it? Oh my goodness gracious. Thankfully, we're all inside and we're trying to keep warm. Hello, my name is Anna Cook, and I am a literacy specialist here in Indiana. Across all of Indiana and Indianapolis as well, just trying to spread good things in literacy. I want to welcome our new member, and I'm so excited. We're so excited to have Morgan with us now, and she will be our third Lit Gal, if you will. And Morgan, just thank you so much for joining us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Anna. I am so excited and honored to be an official Lit Gal. I was able to be a guest, gosh, was that a year ago at this point?
Yeah.
I don't know. Time flies. But I was a guest and it was so much fun. So when you all asked me to join officially, I was very excited. I am a professional learning specialist at Keep Indiana Learning, and my heart is in early literacy. So I focus in those early grades in reading. My background, I've taught first grade, third grade, fourth grade. I have been an instructional coach, and now I'm getting to kind of learn and lean into this new role. I've been with Keep Indiana Learning for about a year and a half. So thank you again so much for asking me to join you all. And Martie, I will turn it over to you.
Great, Morgan. We are so glad to have you. And I am Martie Hoofer. I'm the digital content manager for Keep Indiana Learning. I taught middle school for about 11 years, so I love middle grade and young adult literature. I read quite widely, but those are definite loves of mine. And I am excited to introduce our two special guests today from the Indiana State Literacy Association. We have with us Dr. Tracy Johnson and Dr. Erin McNeill. So, Dr. Johnson, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Johnson. I'm an assistant professor of K-6 literacy at the University of Indianapolis. So I teach undergrad literacy courses for people becoming teachers. So I teach mainly, Morgan, it sounds like your trajectory and career mirrors mine very closely. I taught first, second, fourth, some literacy coaching, literacy specialist. I've kind of done all those things. And then I moved into this higher ed realm. But I teach primary literacy courses and reading intervention courses and love all things books. Yes. At any and all levels. But my first love is the younger grade levels. So.
All right. And Dr. McNeill, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hello. My name is Erin McNeill, and I am a professional learning specialist with Morgan at Keep Indiana Learning. My career trajectory is very similar, but I'm adolescent literacy. And at Keep Indiana Learning, I do all things literacy except for early learning. And I have also been an assistant professor at Indiana University and still kind of doing that, and just love to read books. So I'm really excited to be a guest on Lit Gals today. Thank you.
Well, we are excited to have both of you. And thinking about literature for multilingual learners, that's something we've not talked about here on the Lit Gals. And as I think about my time, Morgan and I taught in the same district. And so we had students, we taught in a very diverse district here in Indianapolis. And I think about the students I had, and Morgan, I'm assuming you're the same way. They represented so many cultures and so many languages, and came to us with not only different skill levels, but different cultural backgrounds. And so I'm excited to talk with you, Dr. Johnson and Dr. McNeill, about how do we best not only reach to help learn to read, but also just hook as readers are multilingual learners. So I'll just throw it to either of you wanting to talk about our multilingual learners.
Erin, if you have something you want to start with, go right ahead.
Sure. I think one misconception that we have is that multilingual learners are learning to read differently than than those that are learning to read for the first time. And that is a misconception that that we need to be aware of. Second language acquisition is different, but when we're learning to read in English, we still need to hit those phonemes and phonics and fluency and vocabulary, and those things are still very important as we're learning to read. And then I guess I would say when we're trying to reach multilingual learners, I think about Dr. Bishop's famous work where we need to see ourselves in our literature, right? To be able to see the windows and the doors and the mirrors through our work. And so we want our kids to be able to see other cultures, see their own culture, and to read a wide variety of texts that have areas where they can not only learn new languages, new words, but where they can also learn about other cultures.
That's the beauty of literature, right? Is that it opens up our world and our perception of what the world is like. And everybody needs that, not just multilingual learners. Everyone benefits when we learn about different ways of being, at all levels.
And, Erin and Tracy, I am so happy that you guys mentioned that. We didn't talk about this when we first met, but you are absolutely right. Having these wonderful stories of different cultures, The Year of the Dog, Katie Wu, Siesta, but making sure that these books are available to all of your children so that they can learn different cultures and about maybe the students that are in their classroom. So thank you both so much for talking about that. Because that's very, very important.
I wanted to kind of piggyback on something else that Dr. McNeill said. When you're talking about learning English is learning to read in English is learning to read in English regardless. But I think something that we are learning more and more about, and I think is really important for teachers to know about and understand, is that learning to read, the skills that are required for learning to read can apply and can impact each other in different languages. Mm-hmm. So if I am developing my phonological awareness in my home language, mm-hmm. that can positively impact my phonological awareness in English. Mm-hmm. And so we, when we started on this journey of learning how to support multilingual learners, we didn't know a lot. And we thought, well, we got to just teach them English and we only do English. But what we're learning more and more is that the more that we can develop all of these skills together and in conjunction with each other, the more supported both literacy in both languages becomes. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really important for us to understand that we don't have to just leave it at English. We can introduce and support, these skills in their home languages as well, as much as we are able to.
I love that.
So Dr. Johnson, can I ask you a follow-up question to that? Sure. So, I am a native English speaker who took French in high school and college. And so there's a lot of connections between English and French. That's not a huge jump. But let's say I grew up speaking, I speak Swahili at home, a very different language. Mm-hmm. The way it's structured, the way it works. Mm-hmm. Do we still see those connections regardless of what the language is, even if there aren't connections between the two languages?
So some of the studies that I'm thinking of, just at a conference I was at last spring, they were presenting studies that were English and Chinese, okay. and the cross effect of the different skills on both English and Chinese, which are very different languages, mm-hmm. not within those romantic, kind of languages. Right. And so I think, like I said, this is new and developing, and we're still learning a lot, but I think it's pretty safe to say that developing literacy skills is developing literacy skills. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. reading in any language is going to help you support learning to read, in whatever language, whatever second or third or fourth language you're trying to figure out.
Yeah. And I will add, I learned this as a practitioner watching my student. I had a student who spoke Amharic, and he was making those connections as he was learning to read of the sounds. And so, yes, I watched him, and I watched the student make those connections as he was learning to read. So even if the languages are, not alphabetic, we're still able to find those connections.
And, might I add, that's the reason that they say multilingual learners are gifted.
Yeah.
Because they need to use both sides of their brain, right? And so it really, I think that needs to be noted, because a lot of times, you know what I mean, we don't see that they're doing both, right? When they're learning.
Mind-blowing to me. A book I loved to share, The Poet X by Elizabeth A. Savato. Oh, Dr. Johnson's so excited. And I'm betting Dr. McNeill had students reading this at the high school level. I love books like this because of just the natural interweaving of different languages together. Yes, the book is written in English, probably also not published in Spanish, but at the time that I bought this, it was only written in English, only available in English. But, the culture is such a part of the story that it's just woven in. Morgan, I have a question for you. Thinking about some of those kindergarten, first, second graders that you had in your classroom that are just discovering any print language. What's that like to walk that path with multilingual learners?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's such a fun job. Not only getting to teach kids to read, but also getting to teach kiddos that look different than you, or that have completely different. I feel like I learned just as much from them as they probably learned from me. And I feel like that's such an honor. This is actually not related to my experience as a first grade teacher, but when I was an instructional coach, I was observing in a classroom, coaching a teacher, and they were reading Esperanza Rising. And the impact that book had on the students in that classroom was so cool to see. Because a lot of them were multilingual learners. And so they may not have felt confident in other stories that they had read, but the fact that they were able to dive into that book and they were teaching their classmates, like, oh, this is what this means, and this is what that means. That was just so cool for them to be able to kind of feel confident in, hey, I know this. This is my world. Let me share some of that with you. So that was really cool, and such an honor to be able to be a small part of that and just to be able to observe that.
So I'm going to jump in and share one of the things that I love that's becoming, it's hard to find, but getting easier, are books like this where you've got, let me go the right direction, where you've got multiple languages written. So this is an Arabic and English text. So you can see the page has the Arabic and the English both.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right. And then this one, this is such a cute book. What can you I don't speak Spanish very well, but what can you do with a paleta, which is a Mexican ice pop? And same thing, it has the English on one page and then the Spanish on the other. This is such a cute book about you can make a new friend with a treat. You can create a new piece of artwork, and she takes the ice pop and makes a piece of artwork on the ground, things like that. It's super cute. But these kinds of books give kids that opportunity to see their native language, their home language, in addition to the English that we want them to. And it's such a powerful entry point, I think, for families as well. You can send home a book like this, and the kid might know the English and be able to help with the English, but maybe their parent is more fluent in the Spanish or the Arabic, whatever it is. So they have an opportunity to engage, with whichever language fits best for them. And most importantly, we're sending the message that both of those languages are valued and important.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're absolutely right. Here's another one just like that, Tracy. And they are so plentiful now, so plentiful. But bottom line, exactly what you said. It's acknowledging that both languages or all languages are very, very important, and we honor them. We honor those students and those languages.
And not only that, the language is important, and we honor the families and the speakers of those languages, but that print matters. It's not just a spoken thing. While I think those of us that are English speaking, we think the whole world of books is in English. No, it's not. There are libraries full of books that I could not read a single word in, and that is beautiful. And so just bringing that importance of the print language to the table, I think is important as well.
Yeah, and there are also young adult books that also do this. So we have the Erin Divided there's a lot of Spanish speaking characters in that book. And it's a great story for middle school students about immigration and what a family goes through and how it affects the kids and the family. Another one that I can think of just off the top of my head is Firekeeper's Daughter, which is about a Native American tribe. And it is amazing, great book. And it is a young adult book. And they speak Anishinaabe, and it's wonderful. And it actually had me stopping and looking up words that I didn't know in the new language and trying to figure out how to pronounce them. And I actually read it and then I listened to the audiobook so I would know how to pronounce everyone's name correctly.
I love that. Erin, also adding to that list, and then we can talk about this slide we have here, but the book Code Talkers. I had to stop thinking, what is the title of this book? It's about the Navajo tribe who were code talkers during World War II, and that ended up being the only language that the Japanese could not crack. And it's a great historical fiction book. I handed it to many students with the preface of the first 25 pages are going to be the hardest 25 pages of any book you've ever read, because there's so much Navajo in it, and it's hard. But I'm like, trust me. I need you just to trust me. And it becomes just a powerful piece of historical fiction writing for middle grade students. So Erin, do you want to talk a little bit about this slide here? And then for those of you watching, I will link to this slide in the show notes so you too can have this slide.
Of course. So when I was at Indiana University full-time, I taught a young adult lit course. And so I went to Christina Jones, who was a wonderful School of Education librarian, and said, I need some multilingual books. And what do you know? And what do you have? And she sent me this wonderful slide with all of the Too Good to Miss books and book list. So my favorite, I love to have book recommendations from other people, first of all, but my favorite thing are these book lists. So if you click these book lists, it is a wealth of information about immigration. The first one has immigration and refugees. And then there's stories about unaccompanied children, teaching about immigration, so that it actually kind of gives you some points of how to teach some of these books. And then books about refugees. So all of these book lists have the grade level, they have what each book is about, and just a wonderful resource really for any students that may come in your room and just you would have these lists to read something different and to see, some books that are not in our normal canon, and all grade levels as well. And then these recommendations at the bottom were the ones that she wanted me to choose. So they are down there because she's a reader as well, right? That's what we do, is we talk about how much we like books and the ones that we found.
Well, I can personally vouch for Front Desk, this one right here by Kelly Yang. She has many other books. This may have been her first one. It's a great middle grade book. I read it as a classroom read aloud to my middle schoolers. So you could also probably upper elementary could maybe even tackle it on their own. It's fantastic. And Anna, I know you love graphic novels. When the Stars Are Scattered. Oh my goodness. It is so good. Don't be intimidated by how many pages it is, because you will just get sucked into the story, and the words are beautiful. The message is beautiful. The art is beautiful. It's just a fantastic book. So Anna, if nothing else, make sure you
Thank you.
That one. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just wrote it down. I keep a running list of these are the ones, and I hadn't heard of that one. So here we go.
Yeah. So I'll link that in our show notes, and then you'll have the links to all of those book lists that Dr. McNeill was talking about. So did anybody else bring books that they want? I mean, I know we'll talk about what we're reading and what we're listening to, but I shared a book I brought with me that I think was a fantastic window into a Hispanic community, but also then for some of my Hispanic students, this was a mirror of what they saw. So depending on who the reader was, I can't say enough good things about Elizabeth A. Sabato. She's one of my faves. Anybody else have a book that they brought that they wanted to share?
Well, I've got one more that is much more on the younger end of the spectrum here. We all know The Wheels on the Bus.
Mhm.
This is The Wheels on the Tuk-Tuk, which is set in India. And so it's talks about the rupees go ching, ching, ching when they pay to ride on the bus. Let's see. The people on the street jump off, on and off. So if we're thinking about for preschool children who we want to expose them to, different cultures and different backgrounds, this kind of book is a perfect way to not only develop some literacy and language skills, but also to expose to different, whether you have a child from India in your classroom or not. These are great opportunities for those windows and those mirrors both.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And I love that book takes something that many of your English speaking kiddos would be familiar with.
Right.
And then oh, wait, it's not always the word bus. It's, it just helps you broaden your horizons. Go ahead, Morgan.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, I wrote that down because my son is obsessed with Wheels on the Bus.
Oh.
So we're going to have to check that version
It's got a ton of verses too. I was looking through it going, oh my gosh, it doesn't stop.
And it'll save me too, because I'm really sick of singing the Wheels on the Bus. That version. Come on, let's mix it up a little bit.
Love it.
So he's going to get to enjoy a story and get a social studies lesson.
Exactly.
This is perfection.
Mhm.
Perfection. Yeah. All right. Well, does anyone else have any last minute thoughts? This is a conversation that could go on a long time. Go for it, Anna.
It could. I was director of multilingual learners for over 22 years, and this really doesn't have anything to do with books per se, but I ask and I beg every single one of the educators, if you do have a multilingual learner and they are new to your class or new to your school, that you make sure that they have somebody that they can that can help them, a buddy, and not just a buddy for a week or 2 weeks, but please, somebody that will stay with them. Maybe there might be a couple of different buddies, if you will, but a week is not enough. These children may not have ever been in a classroom before in their life. And they just need a buddy. They need someone to stay with them and to show them the ropes, if you will, especially for more than just a week. Yeah. So that's all I need to say about that. Thank you.
Well said. Anybody else? All right. Well, we're going to wrap things up like we always do, which is talking about what are you listening to right now or what are you reading right now? So Morgan, I'm going to put you on the spot just because your box is next to my box. And so Morgan, what are you reading or what are you listening to? Maybe it's both. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm ready. I am listening to a lot of books these days because I have 2 littles at home, and that's more sustainable right now. In the car while I'm folding laundry. So I actually just this morning on my way in finished up Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I'm very into thrillers, so if that's up your alley, I highly recommend it. It just kept me guessing the whole time. And I feel like I've read so many that a lot of times I can figure it out, and this one I did not. So it was a good one. And then I was telling Erin earlier today that I have been waiting. I've been on hold since November for Matthew Perry's memoir. So I just got it today from Libby. So I'm excited to listen to that. I've heard that's it's great to listen to it because it's him reading his story. So I'm a big Friends fan. So I am excited to probably dive into that as soon as I get in the car to head home.
Nice. All right. Erin, what are you reading and or listening to?
Well, Morgan, if you like thrillers, I'm not sure if you've read any of the Sarah J. Maas series, but I read the first one, which is A Court of Thorn and Roses, and then decided I needed, and that's like 8 books, and then decided I needed to do the next one. So I'm now on her second series, which is I'm not exactly sure what the series is called. It's called Throne of Glass. I had to look at the name of the series, and I'm on the 3rd book there, and it's sci-fi, fiction, fantasy, and a lot of action all wrapped into one.
Ooh.
And I just started reading, Martie, you're going to have to help me. Just started listening to Martie's recommendation called Only Love Can Feel Like This. And I just started that this morning as my audiobook. And I can't remember the name of the author. Martie, are you?
And I think it's Only Love Can Hurt Like This.
Okay.
And I can't tell you the author either. It's got a blue cover. I don't know. Only Love Can Hurt Like This.
I just looked it up. Page Tune.
Okay.
And it is set in Indiana. So she comes to Indiana and she visits Bloomington and Indianapolis. And so it's really neat just to hear those places that she's visiting.
And it's a fun book that I was 100 pages from the end and I could not figure out where this book was going. I'm closing in on the end here. Like I should know where this story is going to wrap up. Nope, no idea. So, Erin, I hope you enjoy it.
And she may have said to me at work, I just want to go home and read. So I thought I probably need to listen to this.
I may have said that, yes. Tracy, what are you reading or listening to?
Well, I just got my new audiobook. I have it ready on my phone, so I didn't forget the title. It's called The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. It's just a random thing I came across, and I loved the description, and I thought, oh, that sounds fun. So I literally just got it this afternoon on Libby. So that's my audiobook that I'm listening to on the way home today. And then I'm also reading, it's called We've Been Doing It Your Way Long Enough. And it's choosing the culturally relevant classroom. And I highly recommend, I'm about halfway through right now. And I keep looking for, okay, what does it actually mean? What does a culturally relevant classroom actually look like? And this book is just full of real, applicable, real life ideas. And so I'm really enjoying it. Couldn't recommend it more.
Okay, so Tracy, would you give us your titles again? Because they were both really long. So
yeah.
Mine is right. And I'm like, these are too long. So one more time.
Okay, We've Been Doing It Your Way Long Enough.
Okay.
And then there's that choosing the culturally relevant classroom. But if you type in We've Been Doing It Your Way Long Enough, you'll find it.
Perfect.
And then the other one is called The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic.
I love that title.
I'm a little bit of a fantasy magic kind of girl. I like some good mystery like that. So could be fun.
All right, Anna, what are you reading or listening to?
Well, I'm getting all ready for my 25th year at the University of Indianapolis as an adjunct faculty member. I am starting a new class tonight, as a matter of fact, reading in the content areas. I've taught it numerous times. So I'm just getting all ready for that. So I'm doing a lot of content area language, reading, etc. And this one was for English language learners. Shh, I know that's an outdated title for multilingual learners. But anyway, so just getting all ready for my class, and I am so happy to be there at UIndy once again. Tracy, are they going to have a big party for 25 or?
I mean,
that's okay.
I don't know what to tell you about that one.
That's okay, Tracy.
That's incredible. Good for you.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be back where I love to be at UIndy.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Anna, it's funny, your book about multilingual learners and my book that I'm currently reading fits right in, and I didn't pick it because of our show. It's called The Cobra Song. Oh. It's a middle grade book, and the main character, I believe, is a 6th grader, and no, she's 10, it says. So maybe she's almost a 6th grader, right there inside the cover. But let me get her name right. I've listened to it a number of times to try to say her name correctly. Gitanjali. There we go. Gitanjali. She's from India. And but she lives in Michigan. So I think she was born in Michigan, but her grandparents definitely not. And so, man, I am learning so much Indian culture as I read this book, and I'm loving it. And it's classic middle grade as well. You know, the angst of having friends and being nervous and all of those great middle school issues. But then it's just got a great cover too. It's so pretty. So the Cobra song is what I am reading right now. So there we go. What a great show. Dr. McNeill, Dr. Johnson, thank you so much. We appreciate you and all your work with the Indiana State Literacy Association.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
All right. And our sign off, as we sign off every month with this fantastic quote, be well.
Do good work.
And keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.